Welcome to another DC Live show. We're not counting, but I believe we're at 167 live shows right now, which is pretty amazing. And we have a special show tonight. Very often we get legends here, and this is another occasion where we have a legend. Lucky Lehrer is our guest and our host. We're calling this the Hardcore Drum Hour. He not only was influential back in the, I think, very early 80s, late 70s with the Circle Jerks, a seminal band of that genre. He was also involved a little bit in the naming of the band. Drummers are very creative in a lot of different ways. He's joining us, and Lucky, thank you so much for being here with us.
Don, thanks a lot. It's a real honor and a pleasure to introduce a guy that's taken speed drumming to the next fast level, a legend in his own right, Nick Rich.
Hello. Yes, thank you. Thank you, everybody. I'm Nick. We have Mason C. on bass here, and we have the wonderful, beautifully handsome Dan Brunk right there. There we go. All right, let's get this bad boy going, huh?
That is definitely what I'm talking about. Well, we've got Dave Raun coming on a little bit later, but I got to talk with you about that clip. By the way, that's from the memorial concert. That's a DVD that you can get on drumchannel.com and in other locations. But that touches my heart. I got the willies watching that the same way that I felt watching Jason Bonham play with Led Zeppelin, if not even more so.
Thank
I
you.
mean, I'm just
Thank you.
touched by that.
Sweet, man.
I'm going back way in the day, and that was like the tune that I learned to swing with. It was last weekend, I was up in Vancouver, and a friend gave me a 3-disc set of some Buddy stuff that was starting back like in the 40s.
Okay.
And he just popped on a certain track, and I think it may have been Buddy with Artie Shaw, and it was so unmistakably Buddy Rich, and we're talking about 1940. I mean, come on. But the fills, you knew immediately who it was. What was it, in your opinion, about your grandfather's signature sound that makes him the #1 drummer on top of a huge pyramid of phenomenal drummers?
I would say his feel, the way he swung the band. I mean, obviously he was an amazing soloist and whatnot, but I mean, you knew right that pocket, just the way he swung that band, and he was the driving force, obviously, of that band. So I would say his feel for me, obviously as a drummer, the way he locked in and he just took command of those drums.
The speed, of course, was blazing speed, and certainly, I mean, tremendously inspirational. I may have been like, I don't know, 9 or 10, but I mean, to me, he was a precursor to hardcore drumming, extreme drumming. He was working, obviously, within a swing genre, but he took it to the max with the same spirit that people years later would try to attack and dominate the kit.
He did that double bass drum solo just with his feet. What was that, the 40s or something?
Those bass drum fills, well, he started off as a tap dancer.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Tell us some little Buddy story, some little snippet that not everyone knows, that's something special.
Oh, man, well, he was a karate expert. You know, he was a karate expert, so the bus stopped at this truck stop once, and I don't know, it was like in the middle of America, you know what I mean? So he gets off the bus and he goes into this truck stop, and these, Midwest cats with cowboy hats and the whole deal approach him, and they're like, "Hey, what's up? You're a jazz guy." They start messing with him, and they ended up following him out and trying to rough him up a little bit. So he had to, break out the karate. He ended up karate chopping these cats right in the throat and just laying them out in this parking lot. So, I mean, there's so many Buddy stories. He was just such an amazing man and just a role model for everybody. He stood his ground, man. And regardless of what was going on in the music scene at the time, he stood his ground to what he believed in. So I respect that, man.
Do you think he needed to take care of his chops? I don't think I'd be banging into bricks and
you mean with karate chopping people? Yeah, I mean, he studied karate, so he was karate chopping wood. He was into that.
I
man.
saw him do it on the Tonight Show.
I don't even like to push a broom. I don't want to stub my finger or something.
Exactly.
I'm just kidding, but that's fine.
Now you've taken that inspiration to another level in a different style of music. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I just approach drums, how I approach drums. I studied with Travis Barker for a year when I was 16, and after that, I kind of wanted to switch stylistically, so I ended up sitting down with Weckl one time.
Right.
And that one time, that 1 2-hour lesson I took with him completely changed the way I approached the drum sticks, to the molar technique, to letting the stick do the work for you.
Right.
Just through that process, I revolutionized my drumming a little bit. So I try to approach it with that mixture of like that Travis Barker feel with, hopefully a little bit of that fusion.
I want to, the people that are watching, which by the way, I'm encouraging you people out there to send in your questions either at Drum Channel on Twitter, or you can go to www.drumchannel.com and press the live feed. Send your questions in. And what I want to know is, what did you pick up from Weckl? Use this gorgeous Lucky Lehrer signature speed
fantastic.
stick and show us.
Oh, it's not Big Firth. I can't use it.
Show us something. Show us this is what we want to know.
Well, the old, for your double stroke rolls, it's obviously a two-step.
Can you guys get a close up?
Two-step motion. It's got the let your fingers do the work, and it's that snap back.
Okay.
Your middle finger is the access point, and your back fingers stop the stick. So it's for double stroke. It's all. And I remember just doing this, trying to get this, instead of just approaching it where it's just like, you know what I mean? It's actually. But that's the motion slowed down, is just this. So I remember just sitting in my room on a practice pad, just really trying, this was a whole different approach for me.
Sure.
So really just trying to get that pop.
Yeah. Because, I mean, you're rocking some amazing fills. And what I really admired when you were playing was not just the fills, but you're throwing that stuff in on the beat.
Thanks, man.
And it gets to a good question, because it's a challenge for people that are speed drummers when they're playing a fast beat to not get locked into a very, like a certain groove and not get out. Yeah. What are you doing where are you getting your creativity from, and how are you throwing that stuff in so that you're not just oompa.
Well, I'd say the creativity comes from God for me. But I mean, I just practice to a metronome. I mean, just the years of like practicing to a click and just locking that in and starting at slow speeds and just doing the 8 on each hand, you know what I mean? And then building it up from there with different fills and different rudiments. But for me, it starts all at the click, all practicing to that metronome.
That's amazing.
Yeah, dude.
It's very confirming, because we've had some different teachers along the way, but these are the same messages that have been imparted into me, and they're things that I seek to convey when I'm talking to young people that ask, well, how do you get so fast? Well, it starts off playing really slow, and the metronome's essential, and a practice pad, and a good teacher.
Dennis Chambers told me once that he only practices on a pillow, because it has no rebound whatsoever, so it really builds up, you know, the single strokes and whatnot. So practicing on a pillow is super helpful too.
Now you've got a new band that
I
you
do.
brought. Tell me a little bit about
The
it.
band is called The Beginning, and we are literally in the beginning. We're doing our record right now at Matt Sorum's studio in LA.
Awesome.
So about 3/4 of the way done with the drum tracks, and it's just solid, man, just solid rock, and very grateful to be a part of it. Obviously, we had the bass player and the guitar player and the singer who performed with us, who's Mason C. and Dan Brunk, and just a solid group of dudes, man. And we're just trying to make good music.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Is it, how do you overcome the situation where sometimes you feel like, well, this has been done and that's been done, breaking new ground while still staying true to what people want to hear?
That's a good question. I mean, just being who you are as a drummer. I mean, that's what it is for me. I'm not trying to be Vinny. I'm not trying to be Steve Gadd. I'm just trying to be me and just work on what I have and do it to the best of my ability. I'm not trying to be Buddy. I'm not trying to be anybody like that. I'm just trying to be me. And I found that's the best way for me to do it.
That's a good tip.
Yeah, thank you.
So I guess we're going to take a quick break now. We'll be right back, so stay with us.
Hi, Brooklyn. Hi, everybody, all the kids.
I use Drum Channel with my students to play the videos and kind of go through certain exercises with the different artists, and it works out really well.
In Venezuela, a lot of people, a lot of my friends, their teacher is Drum Channel.
Okay, we're back. And this is a big honor for me. Here's someone that is an absolutely spectacular drummer. Lagwagon and a lot of other great bands. Someone whose drumming I've admired for a long time. Big welcome, Dave Raun.
You. Admire you.
Okay.
You were doing this back in the day.
Well, staying power.
No, absolutely,
You know,
man.
because you're not holding back. You're giving 100% to every tune, and then the next song, and then the next song. And there's an energy level with the audience that you don't want to
absolutely.
deflate. So,
Yeah.
what are you running on?
You know, I mean, I used to do a lot of running.
Okay.
Do boxing, kickboxing. Now, you know, I'm not getting any younger.
Right.
So I got to do more of this kind of stuff. Back before I was, younger, I just played. I just
Pure
played
energy.
all the time. I mean, we toured for 2 months at a time. You know, you go out there and play for an hour and a half, and every single day. You know, not a lot of days off. They cost money, kids. Not when you're riding around on a little tiny budget. But yeah, you know, you just play, and you get up to tour mode. You know.
Well, you talk about tours. Tell us a little bit about what it's like, and what were some of the things that made it easier.
Well, making a little bit of money made it a lot easier. So you can actually eat something. And just I don't know, just obviously when you're band, you tour a while, you get any kind of notoriety or popularity. You got more people coming out. You're able to sell a couple T-shirts, make a couple bucks, get down the road to the next gig. It's not easy. And you do it because you love it. I started a long time ago, so it's never been anything that I ever thought as a career. It was just something we were doing with a bunch of friends, and
it just developed.
you just did it because you love to do it, and you're young, and it's nothing better than it.
Well, what were some of the early
blessed.
influences when you were? Who were you listening to that drew you?
You.
Okay, thank you, and a lot of other people in that genre.
Well, Bonham, obviously.
Right.
The
Okay.
starters of it all, and obviously his grandpop. When I was a little kid, and when I first started in band, there was a big giant banner on the wall with Buddy when he was playing Rogers. And the drum set in that band was a Rogers kit.
Cool.
So my first drum, of course, was Rogers.
Yeah,
But you had the big banner of Buddy hanging over our head in the drum section. So that's.
And was that like middle school?
That was middle school, 6th grade, yeah. And started marching and marching bands and all that kind of business. And I never even really wanted to play drums. Actually, I just had a friend that when I was going into middle school, he was in the band, so I started playing drums.
Did you take any of that early stuff with you into some of your playing now? Something you learned in March?
Well,
band,
I imagine, it kind of came in when you go and get into playing fast punk rock. So, being able to, somewhat do some rudiments, although I wasn't, I wasn't the most disciplined because I get into playing in bands, and you don't do the rudiment thing as much as you should, but of course, playing and playing, the more you play, the better you get, and playing fast, just snare drum. All this stuff where you just go fast and play the hell out of that snare drum.
You're growing up in San Francisco, right? Mm-hmm. And listening to rock music. Yeah. You get turned on to some punk, maybe at the Mabuhay, saw the Dead Kennedys, a little Black Flag. You're into it. Hey, wait, this could be fun. I could do this. And then you're listening to different people. And how are you starting to come up with your own thing that makes you a signature drummer?
Just playing. I guess you just be, you pick up things as you're younger. You pick them up along the way, and then you kind of make them. You obviously emulate other people, and then you bring it into what you're doing. So whatever you are, it kind of comes out. It doesn't come out like them. It comes out, spits out however it comes out of you, And so whatever it is, it is, all the Bonhams and, you and the Robos and the Stuart Copelands and the Neil Peart and, whatever's all inside of me and the things that I've dug along the way,
Here's a question to Nick, and it comes from Cole, and he's asking, do you draw anything out of the Christian rock scene, and how has your religious beliefs affected your outlook on music? It's getting a little personal there,
That's
Cole.
okay.
But
That's okay, Cole. I don't mind.
All right, Nick's
I'm very vocal about my faith and what I believe and whatnot.
Okay.
Where I'm at with music today it's all for God. That's where I'm at. So everything I try to do, I try to glorify Him through drumming and through my actions. I just try to do it all for Him today. I struggled in the past with addiction for a long time, and where I'm at today, it's like I can't get caught up in that whole craziness of the music scene. So I try to just do it for God today.
Well, I think it's a great segue because, it's no secret that drums originated in Africa as a segue to connection with a higher power. And it was those primal rhythms that tribes were using to both communicate with each other and to communicate with ancestors. So it's an awesome question, and it really grounds us into where we're coming from, where we're heading, and somewhat of a power that can overtake us when we're playing and feel so much energy that's kind of like flowing through us. And where is it coming from? Everywhere.
Yeah, for sure.
Tell us a little bit about what you're doing now.
Well, right now, my band Lagwagon's in the writing process and getting ready to get that dialed in June, hopefully, and then go out in the later part of the year. And the other band I'm in, Me First and the Gimme Gimmes, has got a new album about to drop as the kids say. And and then we're going to Europe in February, and then Japan in March. And
I've seen that stuff on the internet, and I think it's just absolutely amazing what you guys are doing.
That's
I love
hilarious.
it. You've taken it to a whole next plane,
it's ridiculous.
and you guys are having fun with it.
Oh, I mean, it's all about fun right there. I mean, it's just a bunch. I mean, we're playing cover songs, and I mean, it's just. I mean, you can't even mess with that, because it's like we've been doing it it's been like 18 years now. And it's funny because like a lot of the parents of the kids that like our original bands actually have like these songs, because they're songs that have already been hits. I mean, you can't go wrong. We're just covering hits. We're just trying not to screw them up too badly.
No, it sounds great, and you guys are you're having a great time, and it's infectious because the audience gets it, and it sounds great. And I'm just completely enjoying that stuff.
When did you start? What is your deal? I want to know a little bit about you and your humble beginnings as a drummer.
I was fortunate. In those days, I think there was something that was halfway decent called the LA Unified School System. And I remember a Rogers Holiday snare. It must have been 5th grade. There was an orchestra. There was actually a music teacher, in LA public school in those days. And I'm not going to say that the songs that we played were, they were just like one level above Row, Row Your Boat, but it was a band. And so that just opened the door to middle school, where there was a really good music program. And it was decent equipment and decent music teachers. By that point, I had picked up a private drum teacher. I was really fortunate that I was able to convince my parents to provide that for me. He's an interesting cat. He played next door to the Whiskey A Go-Go in Hollywood at a club there. It was a nightclub. I don't think there's many places like that anymore. And he was a guy named Dennis LePron, and he was like a jazz nightclub style drummer. That's what hipped me at a very young age, maybe 9 or 10, to rumba, cha-cha, samba, mambo. And so, if you roll the scene forward many, many years later to songs like Back Against the Wall by the Circle Jerks, you're definitely going to hear those influences that really harken back 20 years to those early nightclub beats and bringing that stuff in, which is why I'm constantly talking to younger drummers about grabbing from all different kinds of genres and whatnot.
You totally brought a unique, like you just said, you had those parts that were just like you were obviously bringing in some kind of Latin thing, and parts, which was totally different from the scene, because everything was just so straightforward and just stiff, and so.
Well, one of the first things that Dennis brought me was Big Swing Face by Buddy Rich, and I think cassettes had just been invented, so I recorded that.
Oh man!
I was telling Nick this earlier. I recorded that, and I've played Mercy Mercy. I won't say 1,000 times, but many, many times. And even when I wasn't physically playing it, I was playing it in my mind.
That's awesome.
And I love that part of the Big Swing version where he goes down to that tribal beat. And doom, 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 doom.
Hell yeah.
I mean, it was awesome. And then on to Love for Sale and the West Side Story Suite and all that speed hi-hat stuff that he does on West Side Story. So Dennis got me going on that. And then one thing leads to the next, and then you find yourself in high school, and hey, listen, it's obviously an amazing way to meet women. And if I don't mention that, then I'm not being I mean, that's part of it.
Come on, but, that was everything.
So that was everything.
Yeah.
And had a lot of fun with high school band. Once again, LA school system, phenomenal music teacher, John Magruder. He'd let us come over when we were 16 and we had cars to his house on Wednesday nights. He'd have his own big band at his house, and he'd let some of us come over and watch his big swing band. And so all that stuff was great. I was going to school in Northern California. Sex Pistols played in the Bay Area, saw that, boom. The rest of the story is pretty much, you can figure out. It's like, whoa, this is awesome. It was a phenomenal alternative punk music to what was going down as an alternative, which was like the disco scene. And so I just got, right in with it. And a couple bands here and there, and made my way down to LA. My brother, who's in LA's Wasted Youth, got me hooked up through the Recycler. I think it was a band X that John Doe met Billy Zoom in the Recycler. Well, I met Greg Hetson through my brother in the Recycler. It's kind of like a precursor to eBay. It was a newspaper, but it connected people. And yeah, the rest we know. Okay, let's take a break, and then we're all going to come back for a jam.
Ooh.
Welcome to the Chad Smith Show. It's a show where Chad Smith does whatever he wants with whoever he wants. Hopefully, he won't make your mother upset, and he'll talk about drums with nice language. But then again, you just never know what will come out of his mouth. Consider yourself warned. Enjoy.
We're gonna go over to the therapy room now. I'm gonna go get a shrink session now. I got a little tendonitis from all this traveling and touring and playing, so I have a physiotherapist to come to the show.
All right, come over this way though, Chad. You can be like kind of offset here with your legs that way, and I need your shoulder actually off the table just a bit. All right. All right.
Very demanding.
Yeah, I know. These are nerve stretches, okay? This is gonna stretch your radial nerve here, all right, Chad? You can just relax here. You tell me when you get a good stretch at first, though, okay? I'm gonna drop you down there. Let me know if it hurts your shoulder at all, all right? Tell me when you first start to kind of stretch it up. Just pull this way there.
Share all this stuff and to learn stories and experiences and all. I mean, there's no money in the world that can pay for this. This is really unbelievable.
Education, music, conversation, just a dialogue among drummers of all kinds and a chance for them to meet each other, if not personally, at least electronically, and promises to be a kind of a great new talking drum channel, a chance for all of us to converse and share all around the world.
Thank you so much, guys. Come on out here.
I believe people got plenty of cowbell on that one.
Totally love the cowbell.
Right.
We love it.
Where can they get in touch with you online?
Facebook.com/beginning312.
Whoa, you got that? And?
Lagwagon.com or lagwagon at facebook.com or Dave Raun at Facebook.
There you go.
Or
Hey,
whatever. You can find
I got one more.
Facebook.com/bornrich777. Thank you.
Whoa.
There you are.
And if you're really lucky,
LuckyLehrer.com and on Facebook.
Boom.
and here at Drum Channel, too. Thank you for joining us tonight. Check back with
Hi, Brooklyn.
sign up for us.
Lexington,
Be
Zion,
sure
Elijah.
on YouTube.
Gloria.
Subscribe. You'll find out everything that's going on here, both with our new Drum Channel YouTube channel, where we're putting up a whole ton of shows for you all the time, and on drumchannel.com, where you'll get the best drummers in the world giving you lessons, and where you'll see the complete unedited version of this abashed show, even more things than you probably saw tonight.
And let's say thanks to Don, huh?
Hey,
Don.
thank you. Good night. Thank you. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Hi, this is Sheila E., and you're here at Drum Channel. Check it out. Don't go away. Come back. You know why? Because there's a lot more information, technique, knowledge is power. You're going to love it. I love it. It's an awesome place to be. Drum Channel.